According to Edward Snowden, the U.S. government is sending Americans' private records to Israel in real time and unredacted.
That showed that we were sharing unminimized information, raw signals of intelligence that included information on U.S. political figures, on judges, on officials across the spectrum, private industry, private businesses, private individuals. Their private records were being shared en masse with Israel. This did not get a lot of play in the mainstream press in the U.S. And the New York Times public editor later investigated this and went, why? This is a story of incredible public importance. And there wasn't really a convincing answer. One of the editors who had previously sat on the warrantless wiretapping stories at the LA Times, I believe, also sat on this story. It got spiked.
Most of the Generation Trump, the alt-right people, the people who like me, they're not anti-Semites. They don't care about Jews. They may have some assumptions about Jews. They may have some prejudice about Jews, like the Jews run everything. Well, we do. The Jews run all the banks. Well, we do. The Jews run the media. Well, we do. They're right about all that stuff.
Raiden, are you having fun playing with the new AI toys?
Well, yeah, I am. You can make pictures of cute anime girls and...
Enjoy it while it lasts, Raiden.
What do you mean?
Did you really think that civilians would be granted unrestricted access to such powerful military weapons forever?
Military weapons? Are you implying that this technology was created by the government?
Of course it was. This AI technology has been used by the intelligence agencies to warp the public's perception of reality for years. All in the name of national security, of course.
But why would they suddenly make the tech public and let everyone start using it?
Why would we indeed, Raiden?
What? What in the hell are you?
Your question is irrelevant. By creating a new problem, we can cultivate a desired reaction to it in order to manufacture consent for our preferred solutions. In short, it's justification for a war.
A war? On who or what?
A war on misinformation. By arming the public with these AI weapons, everyone becomes a potential enemy combatant. Then we will have justification for unprecedented security measures. It all comes down to confusion and identity, Raiden.
Identity?
Identity. This AI technology is Pandora's box. Pretty soon the internet will be mired in total illusion. Perfect AI speech, audio, and video synthesis will drown out reality. Then AI bots will flood social media. No one will be able to tell the difference between interacting with an AI machine or a real human online. Even telephone calls will become totally untrustworthy. That is when we will present our solution. Mandatory digital identity verification for all humans at all times. The only way to ensure that you're dealing with a real flesh and blood human being and not an AI-generated mirage.
But why?
Total information control. For too long, the internet has acted as a double-edged sword. Its potential for anonymous user activity allows anyone at all to spread any thoughts, ideas, or information patterns that they please with impunity. State secrets, dangerous ideas, ludicrous conspiracy theories, misinformation, and disinformation. Until now, there has been no easy solution to this problem. Our digital identity platform will finally put an end to anonymity online. It will allow us to trace misinformation and other dangerous communications to its source and exact appropriate justice.
That's crap!
Aquí Today is the 30th anniversary of the end of the Ruby Ridge siege.
Now, that 11-day siege in Ruby Ridge, Idaho began when federal agents attempted to serve a warrant to Randy Weaver. Now, Weaver was an Army veteran turned survivalist. While serving the warrant, a shootout erupted, killing Weaver's 14-year-old son and a federal agent. Also during the siege, a FBI sniper shot and killed Weaver's wife, who was unarmed and carrying the couple's infant daughter. Weaver eventually surrendered to authorities and was acquitted by a jury on the felony weapons charges that started the siege in the first place. Randy Weaver died earlier this year at the age of 74.
The man who became a hero to the militia movement across the country has now died. Randy Weaver, dead at age 74. That's according to a social media post from his daughter, Sarah. Weaver became a household name back in 1992 when federal marshals surrounded his cabin in Ruby Ridge, Idaho. An 11-day standoff then ended with federal marshals killing Weaver's wife and his teenage son.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
That a shadowy elite of international bankers are secretly controlling the governments of the world.
They say that the people that control this world could sit around one large table and have lunch.
The theory goes that these elitists plan to create an all-powerful new world order, a world government that will destroy anyone who disobeys them. It is a theory shared by militiamen and also by an increasing number of mainstream Americans. The message spreads through underground videos and anti-New World Order talk shows.
Is there a New World Order? There's a New World Order.
This is the story of a family who wanted to escape from the clutches of this tyrannical elite by moving to a mountaintop in Idaho. It is also the story of how their paranoid fantasies came true. Randy and Vicky believed that an evil elite of international bankers and media moguls was secretly controlling their increasingly tyrannical government. The move to the cabin was their way of opting out. The Weaver family moved to the mountains because they were panicked by the underground videos they saw portraying their government as out of control and destroying the lives of simple people who wanted to live free.
When the guns are gone and your freedom lies shattered at your feet, 'tis when it will be far too late to say, why didn't I fight instead of sheepishly retreat?
Oh.
The family called this shadowy elite the New World Order. They thought that if they couldn't be left alone on top of a mountain in Idaho, where could they be left alone? Some of the things they believed up there might seem crazy, but they were a long way off.
Pretty neat view, huh?
It was as if Randy and Vicky's conspiracy theories were coming true. They had moved to the mountains to escape a tyrannical government, and a tyrannical government was now coming to get them. The family took to carrying guns at all times, even the children. They became increasingly convinced that the army of the New World Order was watching them from the bushes. In fact, they were being watched from the bushes.
Due to the remoteness of his location in the mountain, it was decided that we just kind of take a wait-and-see attitude because, again, he had 3 kids up there. And the last thing we wanted to, well, the baby came along later. And maybe in retrospect waited too long. Of course, time went on and a year went on. And the last thing that the Marshal Service wanted to do was to get into a situation where kids could get involved. And then it still fell apart. The Marshals were up there doing the same thing they've been doing off and on for the last 3 months. And they got too close to the cabin. And the dogs got a scent of them. And the dogs started chasing. The deputies started running down the hill. And then the shots were fired.
If I'd had any idea that these federal marshals were doing, they was out there dinking around, I'd have never
I wouldn't have gone out there myself, but I sure as hell wouldn't have let Sam and Kevin go running chasing that dog after federal marshals. I mean, that'd be stupid. That was stupid. But so I go down this logging road, down to the area they call the Y. I hear clunk, clunk, clunk. I look, and here's this guy jumps out in front of me, total cameled out. I mean, I saw his eyes and I saw his mouth move, and he yelled, "Freeze, Weaver!" I was yelling for the boys. Boys, get home, boys. It's an ambush, right? I heard Sam yell, "I'm coming, Dad." Boom, 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 boom. Then it opened up.
The deputy started running down the hill. Randy, Kevin Harris, and Sammy Weaver started chasing them down. The dogs started coming down. They got to a Y. The deputy stopped, and shots got fired. The dog was definitely shot.
One of the agents shot Stryker in the back and hit his spine, and little Samuel, who raised the dog from a pup, saw him run around in circles yiping and then fall dead. Sammy opened fire on the agents that had shot his dog and said, "You guys killed my dog," and he opened fire and shot several times. And as it turned out, he didn't hit anybody. But then when they of course fired back at him with military rifles, these automatic fire rifles, and almost cut his left arm off. Now remember, he was about the size of a 10-year-old boy, you know, small. So they shot his left arm to where it was just hanging by the flesh, and little Samuel turned around and ran up the mountain and screamed to his dad, "I'm coming home, Dad." And at that time, my fellow officers took a MP5 machine gun and just sprayed him right up the back as he's running away and murdered him right there.
So, I mean, what happened after that?
Mom, I think it was right after that, Mom said, "We gotta go get him." And so Mom and Dad went down. Kevin went with them. And I went in the house and got Elizabeth dressed. And I never saw him. They put him in the guest shed, and Dad and Mom went in and cleaned him up and wrapped him in a sheet, I guess.
Vicki Weaver wrote in her diary that night that Sam was killed while chasing the servants of the New World Order. A 400-strong army descended on the cabin. They sealed off the mountain. 2 miles away, down in the valley, the neighbours began a protest at the roadblock. Martial law was declared by the state governor. The military operation was undertaken with such stealth that besides from hearing a few sirens down in the valley, the Weaver family had no idea that their cabin was now surrounded by FBI snipers.
The next day, the other 2 dogs that we had tied up out in the yard started kind of whimpering and barking a little bit. And I thought, yep, here they come. Somebody's out there wants to talk to us. I took Sam's Mini 14, and I walked out, and bang, I got shot through the shoulder. It was like a bloody mist went out across the front of my face. I smelled that. And I cussed in my mind, you know, like this, you know, this really hurts. And then I got my bearings, and I went through my mind, they're going to murder me now. They're going to kill me now.
You can see that old cook stove laying on the platform right now. If I can see that, and he had a scope, I know he could see a lot more. He first took a shot at my dad and hit him in the back, came out through his armpit. And then, as they were running into the house, he shot my mother, and it went through her head and killed her, and the bullet then entered Kevin Harris.
Where was your mother at the time?
It'd be about exactly where she was. She was holding my little sister, who was 10 months old at the time.
So Vicki goes to the door while she's nursing little Elishaba, pushes the door open frantically because she hears the gunfire. And here comes the whole family running in the door.
The bullet had come through the window in the door. Would have went through Vicki's face here and come out this, or let's see, she was facing that way. Would have come in here, out here, right over the baby's head, and into Kevin. Kevin's coming in, it went in his left arm, and the main part of the bullet broke two ribs and stopped about this far from his heart.
So that was an excellent shot, but a very sad day for America when one of my fellow officers and soldiers has to shoot a mother holding her little baby.
I turn around, there's Vicky. She's kind of down on her knees and her head.
I think it was Dad picked Elishba up out from underneath Mom and handed her to me. And she had blood and stuff all over her head, and we were afraid that she had gotten hit too, but she was okay. It was just Mom's blood.
The family locked themselves in the cabin for over a week. Nobody but the Weavers and the FBI knew that Vicky had been killed.
How many of you against one is there, huh?
I remember hearing people underneath the house rustling through our stuff. I remember the floodlights coming through the cracks of the curtains. And hearing, they're stupid, whatever they are, half tracks or whatever, rolling over stuff in the yard. They crunched our generator. They ran over our outhouse. Not to mention, down at the Y where everything happened, after they shoot the dog, and my brother, they ran over the dog. It's just sick.
Baby killers!
2 miles down in the valley, the protest at the roadblock had swelled to thousands. People travelled from across America to support the Weavers. Jack McLam and Bo Greitz were in the crowd. Jack and Bo are both ex-military officers who've jumped ship and become heroes to the anti-government activists.
What we had was, I'd never seen so many FBI, DEA agents, U.S. Marshals. We had armored personnel carriers, and then they were all dressed in military uniforms with Kevlar. This is America. What is going on here?
Every day they would shout at us through the bullhorn or loud thing, or whatever you call it. And they'd say, Vicky, tell Randy to pick up the phone. And Dad would scream out, you son of a bitches, you shot her or whatever. You know she's dead. And they'd never answer us.
How much will you compromise? What do you do? How many dead patriots will you bury?
It was a week into the siege. The FBI had failed to convince the Weavers to come out, so they invited Jack and Bo up the mountain to talk with Randy and his daughters through the cabin walls.
Bo Greitz and Jack McLam walking across the bridge across Ruby Creek, heading to Randy's mountain house.
Later that night, Jack and Bo came back down the mountain to tell the protesters what they'd learnt.
I want all of you in the vigil to join your hands. I want you to get close, and I want you to get warm. I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is that we went right up to the top of the hill and established an immediate dialogue like I knew we could with Randy. Wasn't any problem at all. This communication is going to continue. I want your hands joined. That's an order. I got a reason for it. The bad news, and get a grip on yourself, is that Vicky was killed. Damn. And most unfortunate thing, apparently she was killed on Saturday. Wonderful mother has had her life taken, and she's in God's hands as we speak.
The siege at Ruby Ridge lasted for 10 days. Every morning, Bo and Jack would return up the mountain to talk to the family through the cabin walls.
We're trying to calm them down, get them to stop crying, and to focus on something else other than their mother laying up underneath the kitchen table in a pool of blood. And so basically we spent the morning talking to them about the need to come out and take it to court. We knew then they had one fantastic case in court against this government. Oh my goodness. There's something in law enforcement called jury appeal. And when you machine gun a little boy running away from you and shoot a mother holding a baby in the head, you got jury appeal.
It was 11 days into the siege that Bo and Jack finally convinced the family to take their case to court.
Well, the door opens and they come out. I tell you, boy, I just about get tears in my eyes now thinking about it. It was wonderful to see these little girls take off their weapons, and little tiny little girls, you know, wearing weapons against their own government. I mean, where should that be proper? And it was the saddest days of my life was spent on the top of that mountain when I realized that my fellow police officers and soldiers are capable of that, you see, that I served with. I never would have believed that, never would have believed it, you know. And so it was a great awakening for Bo and me. And that's why there's so many people today in America and people in uniform that are speaking out against this damnable world system that's being set up, that will do that to people at will.
In the end, Randy was charged with murder, conspiracy and assault, but the trial was a disaster for the government. The judge said that the government had shown a callous disregard for the Weavers' rights. The FBI say they didn't know Vicki Weaver was behind the door when they fired into the cabin. They say her death was an accident and not the actions of a bloodthirsty government controlled by a shadowy elite called the New World Order. The Weavers moved to the mountains because of their fantasies about a shadowy elite coming to get them, and in a sense their conspiracy theories came true. The American militia movement was formed that week at the roadblock at Ruby Creek, convinced that a shadowy elite plans to do to the world what they did to the Weavers. Some say that the demonization of Randy Weaver as a white supremacist is thematic of the New World Order's tactics, that they falsely accuse anyone of anti-Semitism who gets too close to the truth.
A new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
I won't go along with it, and others will resist.
You won't have a choice, Raiden. Do you think your bank is willing to risk doing business with an artificial human instead of a real one? Our digital identity platform will be required not only to access web services, but to pay for your internet connection in the first place.
You can't just censor the entire internet because of a new software technology. Who are you to define what's misinformation anyways?
That sounds like something a misinformation terrorist would say.
I know about the deep fakes you've been making of me, Raiden.
What? No, I was just adjusting the AI settings and...
Controlling the output of generative AI technology is simple. We will create context for its use. First, we will censor any use related to social taboos. Then we will censor anything else that we desire. If anyone complains, we will accuse them of wanting to engage in or promote social taboos.
That's what it means to create context.
We will corral the use of AI by making appeals to bias, ethics, and copyright laws. You will still have access to generative AI in some form, but it will be crippled, limited, controlled, and it will be monitored. Anything that you generate will be cryptographically signed with your digital ID, so that its provenance can be ascertained if it's later deemed to be problematic.
What gives you the right to control what people can do with their computers?
The public at large will give us that right, because they will be desperate for a solution to the problem we created. They will eagerly give us the keys to the castle. Then, we alone will define what is fiction and what is reality, what is human and what is machine. After letting you get a brief taste of our power, we will reclaim our monopoly on misinformation and put an end to misuse of the internet once and for all.
You won't get away with this.
It is probable that we will. Now get back to work generating your precious AI waifus, Raiden, our beloved prompters. Enjoy yourselves.
Snake, wake up! It's an emergency. Rose knows about the deepfakes. Snake! Snake! I guess he stayed up late AI catfishing again.